And we're back. When we just left off, the rebels, our heroes, had just arrived at Yavin, and we're dropping off the information to the rebel commanders. So here we go with the finale of Star Wars Storybook. R2-D2 had never felt so important. He was hooked up to dozens of computer outlets. The information tapes in R2 were studied and evaluated. Finally, the rebel commanders were ready. The commander assembled the pilots and navigators in a large briefing room. Luke joined the pilots. The general spoke. The Imperial battle station, Death Star, is approaching us from the far side of Yavin. We must stop it before it destroys us, as it had destroyed Alderaan. We cannot allow that to happen. We think we have found its weakness. Death Star is completely secure against large spaceships, explained the general. However, the Imperials have never considered the danger from small fighters like our X and our Y wings. The station has a small thermal exhaust port. A direct hit on that port would start a chain reaction that would destroy the Death Star. There he is, giving up. See him? He's breaking it down. However, that's impossible, someone called out. It won't be easy, the general admitted. The fighter path is down a narrow trench. The target is small. We must make a direct hit. Blue squadron will cover for red on the first run. Green will cover gold on the second. Any questions? The room was silent. Then, man your ships, and may the force be with you. The temple was bustling with activity. Luke walked toward his X-Wing. He stopped when he reached Solo and Chewbacca. You got your reward, Han, and now you're leaving? Luke asked. That's right, kid. I have some debts to pay. Luke was angry. They could use a brave pilot like you. Attack on that battle station isn't my idea of courage, Luke. It's more like suicide. Luke turned away. Well, take care of yourself, Han. I guess that's what you know how to do best. Solo called after him. Hey, Luke. May the force be with you. What is it, Luke? What's wrong? It was the princess waiting for him at his ship. It's Han. I thought he'd come. A man must follow his own path, Luke. Quickly, Leia reached up and kissed him. May the force be with you, she said, and then she left. Luke wished Ben were there. Just then, someone grabbed his arm. It was his old friend Biggs. Luke, Big exclaimed. We're flying together. At last. The two friends were joined by an older man known as Gold Leader. Aren't you Luke Skywalker? He asked. I met your father once when I was just a boy. He was a great pilot. There was no more time to talk. The pilots had to board their planes. R2-D2 was lifted into Luke's fighter. C-3PO looked sad. You'd better come back, he said to his little friend. If you don't, who will I have to yell at? Luke touched a small lever. The X-Wing started to move. There you go. There's it getting hauled in. Princess Leia silently watched a display screen on which she could see Yavin and its moons. General Dodonna spoke. The large red dot shows where the battle station is. We have 30 minutes until it reaches us. Now the X and Y-wing fighters were in battle formation. This is it, called Gold Leader. Let's go! They flew closer and closer to the Death Star. Luke gasped as he approached that frightening black sphere again. Gold Leader's voice came over the intercom pickup. We're passing through their outer shields. Hold tight. Switch your deflectors on. Gold 2, a pilot named Wedge, cried out. Look at the size of that thing. Gold Leader was on the pickup again. Red Leader, this is Gold Leader. It doesn't look like they're expecting us. You can go in. We'll keep them busy here. We're starting for the target now, Red Leader responded. May the force be with you, Gold Leader called. There's the control panel where Leia's watching, and the general. Alarm sirens sounded throughout Death Star. The Imperials couldn't believe it. Their battle station was under attack. They fired every weapon they had against the rebel ships. Energy beams, electrical bolts, explosive solids. This is Gold 5, Luke announced. I'm going in. I'm right behind you, Biggs answered. Bolts flew from Luke's ship. With a flash, a huge fire began to burn. Luke shouted with terror as he realized he couldn't avoid the flames. The heat was fierce, but the X-Wing sped through the fire. "Wow," Luke called to Biggs. "I've come through okay, just slightly toasted." The rebel X-Wing ships hit a power terminal on the station. A commander rushed up to Darth Vader. "We count at least 30 of them. They're so small and quick, we can't get them." "Get the TIE fighters ready," said Vader, "and prepare my ship. We'll go after them ship by ship." Biggs and Luke went in again. Luke's timing was better now. They were just pulling out when a call from the rebel command station came. "Squad leaders, attention, enemy fighters are heading your way." A minute later, Luke shouted, "Biggs, you've picked one up. On your tail. Watch it." "He's on me tight. I can't shake him," Biggs called. Luke zoomed around and got behind the TIE fighter. "Hang on, I'm coming." Pew, 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 pew. Luke fired. The TIE exploded. Biggs was safe. Gold 6 was not so lucky. A TIE got him. In the rebel headquarters at the temple, something went wrong with the big screen. "Switch to audio," Leah snapped. She was worried about the fighters, particularly Gold 5, Luke. She thought he was taking too many chances. The control room was filled with the calls from plane to plane, the roars of blast and explosion. "Watch your back, Luke," Biggs shouted. "I can't shake him. He's too close," Luke yelled. "Hold on, I'm on him," Wedge cried. The TIE vanished. "Thanks, Wedge," Luke whispered. "Gold Leader, this is Red Leader. We're starting our attack. No enemy fighters up here yet. Looks like we'll get one good run." As the rebel Y fighters started for the trench, the Imperial crew stationed there began to shoot faster and faster. Bolts exploded everywhere. Then the firing stopped. "Why?" wondered Red 2. Red 5, Luke, made a guess. "Watch for enemy fighter planes." His guess was right. Within seconds, the TIE fighters attacked. Red 2, Red 5, and Red Leader were shot at by his men. "Gold boys, this is Gold Leader. Report in." The calls came. "Gold 2, checking in. Gold 10, Gold 5, I have a tie on my tail." Luke maneuvered sharply, but couldn't shake the fighter. He was glad to hear Biggs say, "I see you, Luke." He looked around, but didn't see Biggs anywhere. To Luke's surprise and to the TIE fighters, Biggs soared in from the front and blasted the fighter. "My turn to help you, pal," Biggs shouted happily. Then the general made an announcement. "Gold Leader, you're going in. Keep half of your group ready to make the next run." "Copy, Gold Leader." "May the Force be with you. Biggs, Wedge, let's close up." The two pilots closed to join Luke to wait their turn. Gold Leader sped through the trench. Gold 10 and Gold 12 were close behind. "Keep your eyes open for fighters," Gold Leader warned. "They're coming in! .35, Luke called. Gold 12 exploded under Vader's deadly fire. "Hurry, Gold Leader, I can't hold them long," Gold 10 shouted. "Almost there," Gold whispered. "Fire!" It was close, but not close enough. The torpedoes hit only the surface of the target. Neither plane got out of the trench. Imperial fighters hit them and hit them hard. Gold Leader's last words were, "Start your run, Gold 5. High-speed hijinks right there. Oh man, look at those things speeding along. In the rebel headquarters at the temple, something went wrong. Oops, I already read that, didn't I? Luke, Biggs, and Wedge went in at a full speed. Luke heard a familiar voice in his ears. "Trust your feelings, Luke," it said. Luke couldn't believe what he had heard. It was Ben Kenobi's voice. Energy bolts were exploding wildly. The Imperial fighters were in hot pursuit. "Almost at target," Luke called. He let his torpedoes fly. With two powerful roars, they hit, but way off target. "Pull up!" he screamed. The TIE fighters were hot on their tails. Luke saw them. "Wedge, Biggs, split up!" The three raced in different directions. The TIE fighters followed Luke. One of the pilots was Darth Vader. He fired but missed. "The Force is strong in that one," he said to himself. He nicked Luke's plane in an energy bolt, but R2 fixed the damage in seconds. "Okay, we're going in," Luke informed the other two. Now he heard the voice again. "Let's go, Luke." Biggs and Wedge crisscrossed in the back of Luke, trying to confuse the Imperials. "Hurry, Luke," Biggs called. "They're coming in faster this time." Vader fired again. This time he struck Biggs. The plane burst into a million glowing splinters. Luke choked back tears. He said softly, "We're a couple of shooting stars, Biggs. We'll never be stopped." Just then, Wedge signaled. "Something's wrong with my plane, Luke. I can't stay with you." Now there was only Luke, with 3 TIE fighters on his tail. He was doomed. Then, an explosion. Something hit one of the ties and it went up in flames. A familiar Corellian spaceship appeared from nowhere and blasted the tie. It crossed daringly in front of the two remaining planes, upsetting them so violently that they crashed. One exploded. The other, Vader's, went hurtling off into space. Yeah, we know who that is, don't we? The shout was from Han Solo. You're all clear now, kid. Blow up this battle station so we can all go home. Another voice sounded in Luke's head. Trust me, Luke. Luke let his feelings take over. He scarcely remembered firing the torpedoes. You did it! You did it! Screamed Wedge. Boom. Good shot, kid, Chewie howled with delight. Then Luke saw the light as bright as the sun. Death Star was gone. Luke turned his plane toward Yavin. A cheering crowd welcomed the pilots. Great scene. The Rebel Alliance had won. They would bring justice back to the Empire. I knew you'd come back, Han. I just knew it. Well, I couldn't leave you to take all the credit or the reward, Han said, laughing. Chewie clapped Luke on the back with such enthusiasm that Luke almost fell over. Only 3PO was sad. His little friend R2 was in terrible shape from one of the hits Luke's plane had taken. Oh my, he exclaimed. R2, can you hear me? Please be all right. 3PO was assured that R2 just needed a few new circuits. He would be back in the blink in no time. The princess was bursting with pride. She hugged Luke and Han, shouting, You did it! You did it! The next day, a great ceremony was held in a beautiful chamber in the temple. Everyone assembled, the senators, generals, troops, everyone who had fought so hard and so well for the rebel cause. Han and Luke walked solemnly down the aisle, followed by Chewbacca. Princess Leia stood on a high platform. Looking more beautiful than ever, she placed chains of honor on Han and Luke. They were heroes. The crowd cheered. The war was over, and the Force would be with them all. And that was the Star Wars Storybook. Happy 4th of May, and may the 4th be with you always.